So good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne. I'm going to be bringing you all of the action live here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. We are here for the Thincats Virtual in association with SmartModular's Donny Chaingang. Now, many of our regulars will be wondering, I got a notification, it's a Monday, what's going on? Well, we've got to say a massive thank you to Ben and all the team at Thincats who've opened up tonight's event, which was a event especially for them, to the rest of the chain gang, and really are looking forward to seeing how this plays out. It's going to be a little bit more select than the normal rabble, so there's a few lesser people in there, but it's going to be a Donny Chaingang, as we all know, which is the same as the Donny Chaingang in real life. And that basically means that what we'll be doing is we'll be setting off on Zwift as a group. We'll go rolling out from the start, and then we will be heading around the virtual world. Now, we're in France for this, and it's one of our favourite courses. It's one of our favourite routes in Zwift. And I've got to say, it is one of the best routes to ride on the chain gang, with loads of action on it, lots of different features as well, and some great scenery to say we're in a virtual world. Now, at some point, Russ, who is our yellow beacon, our ride leader, will be turning around and saying, it's time to go, go, go. And when that happens, well, the speed limiters are disengaged, the throttles are wide open, and you can ride as fast as you want to the finish. And there is going to be coverage all the way through of our riders. Now, initially up to the GoGoGo, we're trying to cover pretty much everybody on the way around, trying to get as many people to get that pro experience. But once we hit the GoGoGo, we'll try and focus on the race as it turns into regularly in the Donny Chaingang at the front. Once that's done and dusted and our leaders cross the line, then we will be coming back and working our way right the way back through the field. So we're going to see how people are getting on. Now, with the advantage of Zwift, we can see how hard people are working, what their heart rate is, and see just how tough they're finding it, or how easy they're finding it. Who knows, we might find ourselves another new professional rider. We have riders on the Donny Chaingang regularly who are out and winning, and we've just seen Connor Swift actually taking victory in the Trobro Lyon. Fantastic pro victory for Connor. Connor, of course, a regular on the Donny Chaingang as well. And this event, of course, having its roots based in the South Yorkshire area, but chain gangs exist pretty much everywhere across the UK. That idea of getting quicker and quicker and faster as the ride goes on. Now, the man with the experience, the man who we are going to talk to, is Russ Downing, and Russ is our regular ride leader. He's the man whose inspiration it was to put the Donny Chaingang into the virtual world. So let's dive across. Let's head over to Russ, our yellow beacon. Good evening, Russ. How are you doing?
Good evening, Matt. How are you?
I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. I'm really loving the fact that we've got something a little bit different on the chain gang tonight with the guys at Thincats Virtual putting on an event that is been opened up to everybody. So it's going to be really good fun to head out on to the roads of France with a different gang, with some new riders. So hopefully everybody's going to be looking after our newer riders who are coming out on the gang for the first time. A bit less intimidating than a chain gang in real life.
Yeah, it's going to be a pleasure to lead, you know, and hopefully well behaved. And we'll say we can have a good chat for the first half an hour. We can chat about the business, the companies and things, and just have it all nice and relaxed, and then don't panic. Everyone will have a great workout, just like the chain gang. So yeah, it's going to be a really nice evening, and I'm looking forward to it. It should be a great ride.
And of course, we are here today because we are being looked after by Thincats and Thincats regular. The man behind it is Donny Chaingang regular, that is Ben Kimball, and we've seen Ben riding regularly on the chain gang, putting some great performances on there, and it's going to be interesting to see whether he pulls out something extra tonight, because as I'm sure you're aware, big event usually pulls out a big ride. I mean, I'm sure you've done plenty in your time when you've been really thinking, oh, I've got to perform today.
Yeah, every Tuesday and Thursday, really, Matt. I've been trying to win one of the chain gangs for a while now. Gone are the days where that. But now, joking apart, so Ben's been on the gang for a while now. So yeah, let's see if we can look after him, guys.
Yep, that's definitely going to be interesting to see. And of course, we've got one of our favourite routes in Caspats, we thought, what route, if you could pick one route to take out people who look after businesses, remember people like Thincats are helping medium-sized businesses across the UK with their local teams. We've also, of course, got SmartModular, who are there building garden rooms, gyms, all the sorts of things that you need to build a super pain cave. I mean, what could be more perfect? And if you go on to the SmartModular website, you'll actually see on the gallery some of the pictures that are scrolling through below with bikes in, because that's what a lot of these rooms get turned into. And you've got to have a good pain cave, and I think SmartModular are doing that.
Yeah, who'd have thought it, 10 years ago, a pain cave, a frigging garden room, they were like, oh, what do I want them for? And now, it's become cool. So, everyone wanting that extra room in the house or, in the top of the garden. So, they're a great bit of kit. So, yeah, it should be good fun.
Definitely, and we better go show people where we're going to head. So I'm going to let you keep briefing the troops and all the riders who are taking part in this, the Thincats in association with SmartModular, Donny Chaingang, and we will catch up with you, I'm sure, midway round the ride, and we'll see whether your heart is ticking at something scary or whether you're just cruising along.
59 beats per minute now, so yeah, I hope it perks up a bit.
59 beats per minute, mine does that. Just having a coffee, it goes, it probably doubles that. So good luck, Russ. Have fun tonight.
Catch you soon, mate.
So great to talk to Russ, and let's dive across into the map, because remember, we have the wonderful resources of the whole of the internet, and it really has revolutionised how riding and competition can take place in cycling, and that revolutionary and alternative approach is exactly why we thought what a perfect partnership to work with Thincats and with SmartModular, bringing a bespoke service to people, and we can actually take people out onto some really cracking routes. So let's show you where we're going tonight, because this is a custom built route round France. Now, you might not recognise this part of France, and that is very simply because it's the virtual world, and it is a way that the Zwift designers can create something that rides great, that races great, that can be used as a group ride. It can have a multitude of scenarios being played out at one time, and remember, of course, all of this all done from home, on your turbo trainer, on your smart bike, on your exercise bike, or something like a Watt Bike Atom, or you can be on a real top flight riding bike, or plenty of our riders just starting out, and lots of riders just jumping onto their turbos for the first time, all coupled in, so it measures people's power and it will push them out around the circuit. Now we start off with a little blue dot is going along the little red section. That is the lead in, and that's a nice steady start, 0.9k. We then head out on the flatlands. Now we have a long way, with about 14 kilometers of flat before we move inland towards the gorges and across the Aqueduct KOM. So that's a little KOM at the right hand side of the map. Now that's a little bit of a kicker. We then drop down and we go over the Petite KOM, and it is a small KOM for Zwift, and we'll show you those profiles in a moment, before dropping back down with a downhill run into town and back through the start finish line. We do the circuit twice, 23 kilometers ago, and we always finish at a fixed point on the chain gang. This is quite simple because everybody's system moves around slightly differently, and it will give you a different distance depending on where you're based. So the aim is to have everybody rolling in to the same fixed point, and we've chosen the Marina Sprint finish, so this means that we do 2 full laps. It's quite a tricky finish because although it is downhill with a long run in, which means that groups can work together really well, as you'll see a little bit later on, it is on a little bit of a bend, and that means that you've got to look where you're going and plan your finish as much as you can when you're hanging on to the wheels of some of the best riders in the country. And of course, our yellow beacon, Russ Downey, will be there to guide everybody through. Former national champion Russ, rider of the Giro, and multiple big races, winner multiple times over, and just as importantly, a rider on Zwift since 2015. Now, we said we'd show you exactly where we were going up and down, and we have a fantastic resource for that. This is Velo Viewer. It's powered by Strava, and the Velo Viewer team, headed up by Ben, based in Sheffield, produce some fantastic graphics. If you've not been onto the Velo Viewer site, make sure you jump on there. If you're a rider, a walker, it is absolutely critical. It shows you so many routes. If you've got any interest in any of the major tours, like the Tour de France, the Giro, the Tour of Spain, any of the classics, all those routes are on there. And this is what's used by the professional teams as well. And it gives you the graphics. Now, we always tend to use the same scale on the Donny Chaingang, and that allows people to get a relative idea of size. Now, the start and finish is pretty much central on the run from the highest point across towards the little cloverleaf section, which is the small island. As you can see from the start, as you head out around the course, the first 12 kilometres are basically pancake flat. There is a 1 or 2% gradient on the climbing. Nothing dramatic. It's all about sitting in the group, holding the wheels and rolling around nice and smoothly. Now, once we've done that, you can just see there's a little bit of a kicker up to a flat topped bridge. Now, as you go up there, that is the Aqueduct KOM. It's a dinky climb, but it's a great little climb with some fantastic views across the viaducts, the aqueduct, and across towards the Von Top as well. And we will be showing you lots of that part of the course as well. As you drop down from there, we come across to the big hill. That is the Petit KOM, and we ride up the climb. And it's, you can see the gradients increase up towards that 10% mark. There's 1 or 2 steeper sections on the turns, nice hairpin bend turns on the way up to the top, and then that nice long run down on the speedy run on the way down into the finish. Now, that translates, if you remember the course map, as being a lap of 23.1 K. So it's all about making sure you learn it on lap 1, ready for lap 2. Now, there's no fixed point as to where the GoGoGo will go, but that GoGoGo will come from Russ at some point. It'll come up on everybody's screen right across in the middle. Now, we are going to take a little bit of a look across at the riders. They're all lined up and ready to go as the clock starts to tick down, and our riders are just sitting on the turbo. So let's take a little bit of a look at our riders. Now, you can see across on the screen right over there. Our riders at the moment, it's busy on the message boards. Good to see Mr. McNeil is in here as well. Ben Kimball's in, and Mr. Wilcox as well. Good to see Booth's in. Marley from Ilkley CC in as well. Lots of riders. Going to be a nice compact group. It's looking like we've got a pretty neat group there. And remember, of course, that the riders, as they set off, are going to be followed by us all the way through. Now, we will be keeping an eye on our riders as we go through. And our beacon, as you can just see, we've just pulled him up. That is Russ Downing. And Russ is in the grey jersey with that yellow chevron over his head. Now, let's go across directly into the stats that we can pull up for our riders. And we've chosen a guinea pig today to show you this, because we are riding with, let's have a little bit of a check. Who shall we go with? We'll go with Ben Kimball from Thincats. So Ben's figures at the moment, we can give you all sorts of stats for Ben. Now, Ben is currently riding at 20 kph. Middle of your screen over there, you'll see the blue 21 kph. The distance he's covered, which is currently 0 kilometers an hour. You can see that he's climbed 0 meters as well and been traveling for 16 seconds. He's got 120 watts, dropping to 96, back up to 150. And at the moment, his heart rate is claiming it won't connect. We will see whether or not that is true later on. It could well be a good way to check that everybody's out and running. Now, we can look at our riders using a multitude of shots, and we can use the helicopter shot up in the sky. Top right hand side of the screen, right over the far side, right over there, you'll see the map. Now, if we zoom in and out of the map, we have a 2D, we have a 2D zoomed out, and we have the 3D version. Now, this is the run in towards the right hand turn in towards the archway, and this is the key part of the ride. So let's take a little bit of a check across, and this is the run-in. Now, what you got to do is keep your eyes on this, folks, because this is a dress rehearsal for the finish. Because as these guys are riding, you'll see just across there is the Marina Sprint Reverse. Now, that Marina Sprint Reverse is the times that it takes for people to come in and through. At the moment, people just getting themselves together into those groups to form one blob. And this is the finish line in 2 laps' time. So this shows you come around that right-hand turn. It's very quickly on you, that banner. And at the moment, the riders are rolling in and through. And you can see the times just coming up over there. Our fastest riders through in 18.75 seconds. Ben Kimball coming through. And Ben's time, a 19.41. And looks like we've timed it right. The guys are in. Good to see Matt Manakee is in with us. So Matt Manakee in from Struggle. He's in the group as well. So let's jump in with Matt, with Ben, and with all of the gang on the Donny Chaingang here, courtesy of Thincats and SmartModular. And great to be your guests here today. So let's have a little check and watch the riders in action. So watching our riders on the way through here, the Thincats in association with SmartModular, Donny Chaingang. We are on a Monday night. It's a rarity for us to do a Monday night, but it's great to be here and timing couldn't be better. Terrible weather everywhere, but guess what? You need an alternative solution. If you can't use the mainstream one, what you do, you jump on the turbo train, you talk to Thincats for funding, or of course, if you haven't got room in your house, you build yourself a whole new one with SmartModular, and that's exactly what we're doing here on Zwift tonight. The chain gang heading out on to the course, and we are going to just keep an eye on these riders. You can just see our beacon now. Our beacon is the man with that yellow chevron over his head. That is Russ Downey, multi-time national champion, a multi-time winner, and going to be interesting to see how Russ copes with having not to shepherd several hundred riders around, but a more select group, this bespoke group out and riding. And a big thank you to all of the team at Thincats for inviting some of our Donny Chaingang riders in here, some of our regulars in as well. Now Russ just making his way up to the front just to keep the pace together, and Russ will be just judging how well people are riding together as they come in and through, and what speed they're going to go. Russ, of course, very experienced ride leader. We've got some young guns in here, people like Tom Lindley, one of the youngsters that we're going to be helping out with the Donny Chaingang. And gotta say, I know some of our regulars will be watching. A big thank you to everybody who has offered kits to Tom. He's one of our new young riders starting out, and looks like there's going to be lots of people already looking to help him on the way through. We've got Matt Manakee in with us tonight. Matt, of course, all part of Struggle and back from injury in a regular way. People are in and riding with the Chaingang. You can see that Matt, well, the trademark beard is there. It looks like he's lost a little bit of weight over the period he's been off the bike. Just getting sucked into that group. If we get up above the man and Matt in that orange and grey there, just ticking along at the side, just trying to keep in the shelter. And the way that the game of Zwift works is it's all about saving your energy. It's about sitting in with the group and making sure you don't expend energy, don't leave any gaps. And looks like at the moment one of our riders just disappearing off the back of the group, and that is Craig Genther. Now Craig, we know, a very experienced rider, and Craig, one of the riders in fact offering to help out Tom. So Craig at the moment gets a very nice bike. This is the Tron bike. Now, you've all seen the film Tron. The Tron bike is one of the best bikes, and it looks like Craig just having a little bit of tech difficulty there, as we're just seeing Mr. Thornley joining us. One of the advantages is that you can join late now. Thornley just trying to push on in with the group here. Heart rate 112. Thornley just trying to kick in to the group here. Let's see how he gets on, because he's got a little bit of a gap to make up. He's got 6 seconds to make up. Craig Genther at the moment, I think, has tech issues, currently sitting at 15 seconds but 6 watts per kilo. He's going to be coming really quickly. It may well be he's managed to sort that tech drop out now. 140 beats per minute. And that's one of the things that almost replicates real life. You can get a puncture, you can get a Wi-Fi dropout, and as you can see, top of the screen, left-hand side, you can see the amount of watts, nearly 400 watts coming out. Big power coming out of Craig Genther in his pursuit of Thornley. So at the moment, we've got a few gaps. We've got 20 seconds to the gang up at the front for Craig, who is working to get that gap back down again. Just ahead of him, you can just see Thornley trying to push onto the back of the group, and you can just see the message boards coming up. So it looks like 3 or 4 riders off the back. Liam Calloway, Rich Shorrell, just waiting for Craig Genther, I think, to bring the riders up. Thornley's making his way through, and this is one of the things that you notice. Teamwork does make the dream work. That's true whether you're in business, whether you're building rooms, or whether you are looking to get a great ride in. Now let's see how the team are going. Here comes Craig Genther now. Craig is a very quick rider. He's an experienced Zwift rider, as is Rich Orrell, and Orrell are chasing onto the wheels here with Craig Genther. So you'll see these riders start to work together and pull the riders back in as one, and this group kicking out some big numbers here. Now you see there's a watts per kilo. That's a real indicator of how fast the riders will go, and Zwift, of course, makes sure that it measures your power, your speed. It takes into account your weight and your height, and with that it will then calculate how fast you're going to go. Looks like Booth getting ready to kick as well, so this is going to be a good group of 4 just coming back in. They will sweep up anybody who's off the back, just helping out, and looks like these guys, here we go, Booth starting to kick in with this group. Now they are trying to jump in with the group. The gang here looks like Marlowe's just offering to drop back. They're coming quick, guys, so don't jump too far back here on the Thincats ride, and as you can see, the gaps are starting to come down. Let's get a better view of those riders as they make their way on. You can see very quickly pushing back in. Every time there's a rider in front of you, you get an assistance, and that is going to make a big difference to the riders. They come. It looks like the last riders at the moment are the riders in orange and black, along with that Mondrian kit, and the group just tried to chase onto us. Let's take a little bit of a look back. They can't afford for the front to speed up too much at the moment as we start to head out. You just start to see Mont Saint-Michel in the distance, with the group just coming together at the rear of the gang, and our drone camera now just keeping an eye on those riders up on the front. So it looks like the gang back together again, and it's going to be busy down in that pack. You can just see everybody trying to grab a wheel, trying to get some shelter on the way through, but this group looking good. And they're going over the river here. One of the key features of Zwift, of course, is that if you hit the cobbles, it makes life harder. Mont Ventoux, the Von Top, starting to appear in the distance, and Russ, ever the pro, took it in on the wheels on the back to make sure everybody is rolling well. So with Mont Ventoux, the Von Top in the distance somewhere that we tried not to take the Chaingang because it's so hard going up in the distance. You can just see this gang just moving along quite quickly here. And it's certainly expediting the ride along at the moment. If we take a look at some of the numbers here, it looks like the gang are working well at the moment. Let's jump in with Wilcox here. So there is a 15 to 30 minute late window. We have got a late window normally for 30 minutes, so you can late join, and it will split you into the group up to about 30 minutes. So here we go, the group back together again. This is a really nice group working well together, and that is really a testament to our riders being very smart. There's no advantage in being a hero, dashing off the front and being in trouble, and it's all about sitting in the wheels. Working as a group together will get you moving along nice and quick. So let's have a little bit of a look. Looks like there may well be 1 or 2 riders just struck off the back here. Let's have a little look. Looks like Baskerville is going to jump out of the group, and we are going to jump back in with our main group. Let's have a little look at Russ. He was joking his heart rate was down at 59 beats a minute. Well, he's almost doubled it. 99 beats a minute for Russ at the moment. And to give you some time frames without giving away here quite what Russ's FTP is, Well, it is all about getting Russ over the 150 mark. If you can push Russ into those 150s, you know that you're going to start to make him struggle. But got to remember, Russ is very lightweight, a lifetime of professional riding, meaning that Russ is definitely going to be strong all the way through and can type and ride at the same time. So at the moment, Russ's numbers 123 to 150. Yeah, 150 watts. Now our riders are just making their way along the coastline. You can just see the island in the distance, and the riders just splitting into a couple of groups here. So the group at the back just going to need to push on a little bit more. So just seeing Ben Kimball working at the back. I know a number of our Chaingang riders jumping on. Tim Cooper acting as a sweeper, I think, and a bit of a red beacon tonight. He was out racing at the weekend, and looks like the Thincats guys are more than holding their own at the moment. So just see some instructions coming up from Ben. That's it. Keep pushing in to the group, and makes all of the distance. And I think Matt being told to keep it nice and steady. The guys up on the front. Now let's jump in with Tim. Tim was out and racing. Now Tim Cooper rides for the Show of Pines teams. He's a regular on the Chaingang. He's also one of the tech wizards who gives us plenty of assistance on the way through. And get to see Tim coming in to act as a bit of a sweeper. Remember, if you sit in this, it rides just like real life. Mr. Booth at the moment is sitting off the back, having to put out more watts per kilo, currently at 3.4 watts per kilo to jump in with the group. An experienced rider on here, so it is all about sitting on the wheels and ride it like it is real life. With all of the developments over the years, Russell have seen the way to go. It really is improving all the time. There's constant improvements that mean it gets closer and closer to real life. Some people say that we should have steering on there, and to be honest, that's probably the one thing that we would really struggle with, would be steering. And at the moment it's hard enough keeping people on the turbos. They have a habit of crashing off them if they're not careful, as the riders head out into the red zones. But now we start to head inland on the Chaingang. These riders are packed out at the moment as they're heading along, and looks at the moment like our riders are working well. Just in with McNeil at the moment, but this group riding well. McNeil 116 beats a minute to 147 watts, just kicking out. Mr. Wilcox reckons he can do a brown small slice of toast. By the end, mate, you'll be toasting half a loaf. It could be a proper Yorkshire doorstep and you won't have a problem with it. I'm sure of that. And remember, of course, the Donny Chaingang Tuesdays and Thursdays has been responsible for lots of people's improvements, and part of the key in getting people quicker and quicker, not just on Zwift but also in real life. Lots of people using it as recovery from injury as well. Lots of people using it as a recovery rise. So you can imagine as the conversation is going, the power surge that would happen every Tuesday and Thursday night every time everyone jumps on the Chaingang. But it would help supplement the fact that there's no sunshine when the most of the guys are in. So Dave Fulton at the moment 114, he's just chilling. Let's have a little look at some more of our regulars and non-regulars. So Jono at the moment, no heart rate for Jono, kicking at 180 watts as we take the side of the river. Asquith, if we just just in here. So Asquith's looking pretty smooth here. He's ticking along, 152 beats a minute, almost matching his watts to his heart rate at the moment, and just pushing on a little here, which is going to be very interesting to see what happens at the back of the group. Remember, we've got to make our way in towards the Aqueduct KOM, then the Petite KOM, then drop all the way down the side. We've got a couple of villages and sprints to go through on the way as well, but at the moment these riders looking pretty smooth here. Ben Kimball says he's meant to be having a easy day, sitting up near the front, keeping the front of the group in order, and just going to keep an eye on the back. It looks like one or two riders just feeling the pace at the back. Let's have a little bit of a check down near the back. So it looks like Alan at the moment is the rider, just distanced a little bit, sitting on a Zwift bike here. So he's going to need to just push on at that 4 watts per kilo. I think we're likely to see riders just start to come back. Yep, you can see Tim Cooper. This is where working together on the Chaingang really does pay off. Tim already starting to come back towards our riders. So we're just in with Alan at the moment. So here we go. Kimball just putting out the pace here, making sure the troops do what they're told. Meanwhile, Cooper dropping back to go give assistance to Slate Booth, working his way off to the back here. And now you can see Alan jumping onto the wheel of Tim Cooper. Cooper taking the wind, taking the air up at the front. These riders going to now need to work together. It's a 6 meter gap, the distance that you can allow. That's 3 bike lengths. So the key here is for Cooper to keep the pace steady, but faster than Alan would do on his own, and to bring them back into the bunch. If we use the map, top right hand side of the screen, it's going to bring you a closer view. And these guys are looking really good. It looks like 1 or 2 riders just starting to drop back to help out. Mr. Marlowe on his Tim Marlowe just dropping back. I think it is. We're just going to keep an eye. Make sure we get all the names right. So it is indeed Tim Marlowe dropping back for Michael Allen here with Tim Cooper. And looks like Rich Orrell doing the same. Daryl Tatchell, one of our real fast men on the Chaingang, working its way back as well. And you can see very quickly 3 more riders dropping back. Looks like Alan's going to put a bit of a kick in to try and bring himself back up to the yellow beacon. So great riding there by Tim Cooper. And you can see that gang are going to work as a pack together to bring themselves back in. If you watch the screen right hand side, Alan put a little bit of a kick on. Now have sat in that group, but you can see the pack are going to bring people through. It's all about wheel sucking. There's no prizes for being a hero on the front. There are definitely kudos marks for sitting in there, pushing your way up in with the group. So nice riding there by the group. Let's jump back in with Russ at the moment. And Russ sitting just towards the back of the pack. Now, there are some key phrases to remember when you are riding a Donny Chaingang or riding a Chaingang. Don't poke the bear. Russ the bear, Fonzie Downing. Don't poke the bear. If you poke the bear, he will go chasing after you and close you down. Bit like being chased down by an angry bear. Russ coming after you for going too hard or winding the group up is not a pleasant sight, and you will get your legs and arms ripped off quite literally. Other phrases to know, the key words are basically 3 words. They're all the same. They begin with a G, they have an O afterwards, and it's repeated 3 times by Russ in capital letters. The moment you see that, you know that all the gloves are off, all the limiters have been removed, and that is when people can go at whatever pace they want, and we will be seeing who takes that through. Now we're heading in towards one of the traditional sprints here in Zwift, and this is the run in towards the pave sprint. If we pull up the screen, you can see the pave sprint reverse. Now at the moment no data on there, and that is quite simply because our riders haven't yet gone through, and this is where our riders are going to be pushing. You can see the archway just starting to come up for the riders in front here, and we're going to watch those names start to populate in there as they hit the line here. So into the line they go. First rider over that line. We're just going to keep a check here. Tom Lynn again, 31 seconds. It's the fastest time at the moment, so just having a little look. Russ doing a 35-second all the way to 36 for Jono. Matt Maliki clearly feeling those injuries, or is he just playing it smart? 36.09 for Matt, and then a quick regroup is the key. And I think at the moment the team here could be showing the gang a thing or two about keeping a group together, riding really well, super smooth here. It is a pleasure to see this on the Donny Chaingang. When the group works well, this is what we look to see. Strong riders going back, bringing up those riders who need help, giving assistance where they need. Everybody then benefits because the whole group works quicker, and that's what we're seeing out in France. So we're through the first of those pave sprints here on the Thincats Virtual SmartModular Donny Chaingang, the Donny Chaingang special coming out on the Downing Cycling YouTube with me, Matt Payne. And great to see the riders in action already. Some really smooth riding, really well ridden. We have some real stars of the cycling world in there, as well as in the virtual cycling world, and lots of very experienced riders coming in to ride with the team from Thincats and SmartModular. Remember, SmartModular based in Otley, but operating across the country. And of course, the key to Thincats is their advisors, who are based around the country, able to cover the whole of the UK with local advisors. Means that they've got a real feel, whether that is Mumbles Pier or it is one of the digital media companies that they are looking at. Then they know the scene, they know where they're located, they know exactly what is around, and that is key. That knowledge is key, and that is exactly the case here on Zwift as well, because our riders will know coming up very shortly we are going to see the Aqueduct KOM. You can see it just zigzagging its way across the side. So let's take a little bit of a check. The back of that group just starting to get a little strung out. One or two riders off the back again. The riders now start to make their way onto the climb. 5% the climb at the moment. Doesn't sound very much, 5%, but you can soon feel it in your legs. So this group will need to keep it together the first time up here. Remember, this is a real dress rehearsal for the second time they go across the flashing red line, and that red line is the start of the climb up the Aqueduct KOM. And we'll be seeing those times as they come in and across the line. At the moment, you can just see it's starting to string out here on the Thincats Virtual SmartModular Donny Chaingang, and it's just seeing one or two of the riders deciding to have a little bit of a dig here. I suspect they are going to pay for that later on. May well be they're just looking to get a little bit of sliding room, but don't forget, the team know how to ride this. The gang from the Donny Chaingang are definitely going to be able to keep this together, and just seeing Booth at the back, I think, with Cooper just holding that back of the pace together. The riders now starting to head in towards the finish line of the climb here. I'm just going to see our first riders coming in and through. Let's see who's going to be our first rider in and over that line. It is Alan, 57.92 seconds. Oral coming over with a 57.79, but we're going to see those times absolutely obliterated as they go out to about 1 minute and 8 seconds at the moment. The group is quite well spread out, but the pressure now on as we see the riders going over the top of the viaduct at the moment. This Roman inspired edifice to engineering from a few centuries ago, seeing one of the legends of cycling, Russ Downing, riding in with the pack. It's just breaking into a few groups here, so I suspect we're going to be seeing the message boards populated with messages to bring it all back together. So a shout from Ben Kimball to regroup here. This second pack on the road, you can just see a fast moving pack up on the front 4 second gap back to group number 2 at the moment, and one or two people just off the back, and going to be feeling the pace here, because we have a wide variety of riders on here. Good to see Mr. Osmond and Liam Callaway on here, two of our regulars. Looks like Derby in this group. Let's take a little bit of a check. Mr. Wilcox in here, just sitting on the back of the group here. Interesting, going for the full-on lightweight version. This is the lightest bike you can ride on Zwift, and this is the grey and red Tarmac Pro, complete with Melenstein lightweight wheels in there, and they are the lightest combination that you can ride up a hill in Zwift, faster than the Tron bike. In fact, the fastest combination uphill. However, you pay that toll on the way back down. Now, just seeing one of our riders just off the back. Now, this is Mr. Doxy, a real quick rider. Watch this man when we come in towards the finish. We know he's fast and he's going to be able to help pull these riders back in. Another rider who knows exactly how to ride the Chaingang. He's going to be helping. It looks like Preston just pushing on those pedals as well, doing a good job here of pulling this group back in together again. Now, looking at Preston, 132 beats per minute. He's not going all that hard, but he's putting a good turn of pace in here. So this is looking like it's going pretty smooth here. So just keeping an eye. Looks like Darryl Waller just doing the sweeper roll at the back here. Another rider who clearly has got the miles in on Zwift. Now the Zwift concept bike is ridden by Mr. Waller. You can see it's got the orange wheels he's got in here. This is really one of the key features of riding on Zwift is the altitude that you climb. At the moment, our riders have covered 46 meters of ascent, and that is very, very small in comparison to the 50,000 meters of ascent you have to do on the way up the climb. Now heading in and round. This is going to be very interesting because the next feature out en route is the Petite KOM, which means that if the group stays together on the Petite KOM, Russ may well be getting them to go for a sprint as they come in to the finish for the first time as a dress rehearsal. Let's have a little look. Mr. Preston has been sprinting indeed, mate. So as we going to go head on to the transition towards the climb, let's try and catch up with Russ here on the Thincats Virtual Smart Modular Donny Chaingang, and let's see if we can head across to the one and only Fonzie Bear. Russ, how are you doing?
Hey, mate, just sending a few messages out, trying to calm the keen beans down.
Well, I think you might have to warn them. They're not going to get a sprint if they give it too much on the climb coming up. There's some fast riders out tonight, not just the regulars, but there's plenty of new names giving it plenty of stick, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a good tempo though. Everyone's looking after each other, which is what we started out some years ago. Sounds like years ago, a year and a bit ago. And yeah, it's going well. So hopefully the behaviour. And then, like you just said online, we'll have a recon sprint for the marina, and then you can do it for real later. So, but I thought my heart rate had gone up then, but it's not. It's only at 90.
We don't want to go too high. Yep, definitely. Let's have a little bit of a look here. Just looking at the back, looks like you're just about almost bringing up the rear. And great to see so many people going back and working together. You can see the packs just working nicely as a group here, just keeping that wind resistance down, and lots of the stronger riders at the back pulling people along, and it's that teamwork that really is key here, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, like you mentioned earlier, not teamwork on the bike, but teamwork in the workplace as well. It helps, and never leave anyone behind, never leave anyone stranded, so it helps in all aspects of life moving forward. So yeah, obviously he's not listening now, right? But
well, I'm not sure. I think there'll be a few people with oxygen going in and out of their ears rather than anything else. Just seeing Darryl just taking a little bit of a run off the back. He's one man who's definitely used to teamwork given his profession, and the riders heading up this climb. Nice to see the group together. Yeah, I almost think you must wish that every Donny Chaingang was like this.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was just as calm as this, but the speed's there. It's just it's less busy, on the chat and everything. You've just got to have eyes in the back of your head, listening to people, watching people, and it's how it was in the early days. But this is going to be a nice warm up into a great event.
Definitely, and it's looking like there's some of these riders who've joined from Thincats and from SmartModular. They're definitely some experienced riders in there. There's some very smart picks of equipment with some very lightweight setups and things that you have to put some serious miles on Zwift to earn. So it's good to see that they've got a good mix of people who are interested in things outside of work as well, and can't beat it if they're riding on Zwift regularly.
Yeah, we all know how hard you can be pushed on Zwift. you shut your eyes and you can go deeper than you can on the open road. So, it's a great tool, and everyone's FTPs and just general well-being's come up in the last year or so with the ECG. So, yeah, I'm out of breath, mate.
I know, I better let you get back to climbing this dirty great hill, mate, otherwise you're going to be out the back. Let's drop across to Matt Manakee on the screens, and we'll try and get a view of Matt out on the course. We'll let you get back to doing some riding.
I'm trying.
We'll catch up with you soon. Cheers, Russ. So great to see Russ out there, just keeping an eye on Matt Manakee at the moment. This group climbing the hillside, and if we jump up with the helicopter at the moment, you can just see the line pretty strung out. Manakee at the moment just starting to drift back a little. The group with Russ starting to form. Remember, Russ started this climb out near the back, but these hairpin turns here on the Thincats Virtual. Donny Chaingang, it's looking like the group's stringing. Hopefully they'll get it together now. When you ride over the top of a climb, over the top of a crest, those people who are out in front stretch that lead out. They extend the leads, because the physics are, as you go over the top, the distance as the speed picks up increases. Faster the speed, bigger the distance between the riders. Even though the time gap may be the same, but the aerodynamic drag is key, and the gap opens beyond that drag point, and that means that you're not getting assistance if you are too far behind the rider in front. If you're in a group, that's where that big assistance is, and this group is looking good at the moment. A few people out the saddle on this climb. If we drop down beside our riders, you can just get a good indication of just how tough this is, because our riders at the moment climbing at 6% here. Just watching Matt Manakee's heart rate up at 135 beats per minute. The man from Struggle in here looking as like he's keeping it together. Remember, looks like we're going to have a sprint at the finish line if we have the group together. Now, one of the golden rules of the Donny Chaingang is we don't play at the sprints if people aren't riding as a group. If anybody's taking a flyer off the front, then that's not going to be the case, and they'll definitely not be counted nor covered on the coverage. The advantage of being able to pick every single one of these riders on the way through as being a rider is absolutely key here. So just watching McNeil here, 131 beats per minute, and again working well here, looking super smooth. And this group, it is definitely working well here. So Ben Kimball showing his experience as a rider here as they come up on the climb. The Von top in the background, the mountain famously where we saw Tommy Simpson lose his life in the former world champ heading up the climb and coming to grief on its slopes. But lots of people find it a very hard climb. It has to be said, it is my least favourite climb pretty much on the entire Zwift portfolio, and there is a reason. We very rarely go up it because I don't want to have to go do the recce. It's interminably boring. I'll be brutally honest, it's not where you want to go. Go do the Alpe d'Huez, which is a replica of the Alpe d'Huez. Loads of hairpin turns, lots of features, lots of time checks, and that's what keeps it interesting. Let's jump in with Dr. D, or Dr. DCG, should we say, because it is Mr. Dubash who is at the moment riding nice and smooth. And I know Dr. D is only going to be with us for a limited amount of time. I think we've got a few people who have time constraints or are having to be very careful because they've been putting in some serious work on the bike, and it's all about being able to measure that performance, measure the amount of work that you've been doing. Dubash at the moment sat in that group. Lindley, the youngster, just at the side there, looks like Alan just giving it some big beans on the front there, trying to break clear. He's going to pay for that later on, that is for sure. Meanwhile, you can just see Asquez just sat at the group in here, riding very smart indeed. Nice pace being set on the front here. Looks like Raccoon doing a great job on the front of the group. Another rider that is flying, and just looks like Mike Allen just been having a few people just wondering just quite whether he's been ingesting a little bit too much caffeine. Maybe he's been on the Down in Cycling double day blend, the blend that helps you do a big double day. There's definitely some keen beans, but not too keen. It looks like the group holding reasonably well together as we track around as we're coming up towards the top of the hill. And this is what we want to see, the group riding nice and strongly together. Remember, it's about pulling it together and getting the pack nice and smoothly over the top. If the gap's open, then things will get very interesting indeed. Now you can see from the back top right hand side of your screen that we have a full set of left, right, lefts to do before we come up towards the turn. And the riders at the moment with Manaki just patrolling the front of that pack, just bringing the string round, the group coming over the top. They are going to need to freewheel as they go over the top and onto the descent. So our riders will turn right at the junction coming up, and that will take them onto the long descent down. That's where this group will need to come together. If we have riders down near the back of the group, that is when they are going to find themselves in trouble. If they're not careful, they need to be pushing on in to the pack and try and go over en masse. At the moment, though, it looks like Tim Cooper is moving up nicely, and there's some looks like Booth, Cooper, Dubash, Osmond, Derby and Downing are the riders sat near the back. So I think there's a little bit of room for the back to push on here in towards the front group. Let's take a little bit of a closer look on that map. The group are definitely starting to come back together again over the top here. We may have to make this required watching for some of the Donny Chaingang riders of how to watch this. There's a few riders who could take lessons on just how to ride this. Good to see Baskerfield back in with us. So Baskerfield showed 5.5k on the wheels here and 165 beats per minute. So clearly working quite hard here. 166, it's ticking up. But Baskerfield needs to push on to the back of the group. Booth and Cooper, I suspect, will wait to just make sure he gets on, because as soon as we go down the right hand turn, it will speed up and the gaps will open. But look at that turn of speed there. Baskerfield quickly pushing in with the pack now. Round the top we go. That's quickly going to 0%. This is the only opportunity to regroup here. This is where the pack have to get it back together again as they come on to the descent, and this is really, really fast indeed down here. You're going to see some big numbers. The speed, watch out on that top bar left hand side, currently at 40 kph. Just riding in with Baskerfield at the moment, and these riders really are working well. This is all about keeping that pack together. The back of the pack, that's Booth. He's got a good turn of pace. He should be able to push into this pack. The front of it, just a little bit of a gap on that front pack, but looks like there's bodies in between. And Asquez is definitely in that group. I think Kimball sitting in there as well, and that is going to make life a little bit easier for the packs to rejoin. Now we're starting to see some super tucks going on here as well, as Kimball from Thincats goes on to the front here. He's keeping that pace ticking along nicely. One or two riders at the back need to up their game. They are some of the stronger riders that could be in trouble if they're not careful, because this pack is working well together, and it's that group pack working together that's making the difference. Now you've seen the riders just tucked down onto the top tube. This has been banned by the governing body of cycling, the UCI, but this is where the riders can get an advantage. A micro rest is all about resting. If you talk to any of the regular ride leaders, any of the regular competitors on the platform of Zwift, it's all about getting the micro rest, relaxing, rest. Don't expend any energy when you don't need it. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Getting prizes for being the fastest rider down the hill if you burn yourself out and you get overtaken very quickly on the way up. Now let's take a little bit of a look. Looks like Alan, who was on fire on the way up the hill, currently now paying. This might get another espresso down you, mate. This is where you're going to need it. So Alan and Booth and Cooper on this descent, and Cooper's just dropping back a touch here for Alan and for Booth. They can see that yellow beacon. It's 9 seconds from the back of Matt Manaki at the moment. So it looks like the key bean is in danger of becoming ground coffee at the moment. Now, Going around Sturk there. Sturk pushing on to try and keep in with the group. You can't afford to let the wheels go on a downhill. Remember, this is a dress rehearsal for the finish. Now, Alan Booth currently sitting a fair way back at the moment. Cooper's at 9 seconds, but you can see the group sitting in and around Downing. This is the Yellow Beacon group. This is the lead of the ride, and looks like they can see the riders behind, but no one's taking any prisoners here. You can see the numbers are still ticking around about the 2 watts per kilo as Kimball goes up on to the front there, just keeps that pace reasonably steady. They're going to come underneath the bridge, and remember, we just passed the start here, so we're going to have a big regroup after the sprint. Big regroup after the sprint. If you take a look at the map at the top, you're going to see the gantry coming in around the right-hand turn. We're over the bridge here. So, through the sprint, take out that sprint. Who will put in the fastest time? Remember, the time we went through last time through the Marina Sprint Reverse, the fastest time, it is going to be Ilkley CC's rider who's got that time at the moment. So Lindley in second place. Fastest time is an 18.75. Who's got the power to take away at 18.75 as we come in? We're just riding in with Russ. Let's see if anybody can take out an 18.75. I think there's plenty of power in this back at the moment. Look at this. Wilcox is putting in nearly 12 watts per kilo at the moment. He's putting in a great ride here. Some 13s and 14s. Let's have a look at those times as they come up on the board. 18.75 was the time. Ah, look at that. The bear was poked. He's not only got the claws out, he's ripped them to pieces. 12.36.3 faster than Chris Darby. Looks like Doxy at 12.86. Wilcox put a great ride there because Wilcox did that from the front. A 13.26. And keeping an eye on these riders. There's some very fast times in there. Great riding by these riders that go through. Now, regroup time. Time to pull everybody in together, so it's going to need to be less than 2. So Tim Marlowe putting the shout out. The man who's 18.73 was rather annihilated there by the sprint there. Great to get a sprint in on the Chaingang. It doesn't happen very often these days because it is usually such a big pack, but this is exactly how the Chaingang was intended to run, to get everybody back together. So let's drop back down the groups and let's see who's our last man out on the road. I think it's going to be Alan at the moment, who's just coming underneath the gantry. So Alan going through the gantry. Up the road is Sturk, and then it's going to be Booth and Cooper at the moment. Preston's 14 seconds in front of them. So from Alan at the moment is a full minute and 7 seconds down. And I think Alan's time of getting the glory was on the push up the climb there. So Alan led them over the top. And we have Matt Manicki currently at 15 seconds off the group. Preston currently sitting at about 17 to 18 seconds. Booth and Co at about 45 seconds down. So the gang need to back right off, please, guys, right off the pace. So you can see these numbers are just being dropping away here. Liam Calloway, a great example of what we need our riders to do. As you can see, Liam sat here on that Pinarello, riding at 1.4 watts per kilo. And this will then pull the group back together again. It doesn't take long for the whole group to reform. And this is what we want to see. 1.9, Asquez, who's been putting in some great race, got to be a contender when we come in towards the finish there. Dropped down to a 1.6. So let's take a look at the back of the group. So 126 to Alan. Is currently 35 seconds, 30 seconds to Sturk. It's going to be a further, we've got, looks like the guys up there. So Mike currently just sitting at the back there at 1.9 watts per kilo. I think clearly feeling the exertions, not getting too much. So the front just getting a little bit of warning from the regulars. make sure you have a listen to the gang. So I'm seeing lots of 1.4s, and we've all been the rider who's at the back, so rider's having a tough time at the back. It is Alan, whose pace at 1.7 is going to be struggling to stay on Sturk at the moment. He's currently at 26 seconds, so we could do with a little bit of a run back for Sturk. So, Mr. Allen, you need more espresso. I'm with you. I'm feeling you 100%. I had to stop having a coffee at lunchtime today, and that's unheard of for me. So I'm definitely feeling your pain, mate. It's normally I have a Grand Tour coffee espresso sat beside me. Well, actually a triple espresso for this, but not happening. Meanwhile, Sturk here on good ride. This is looking like some serious pressure being put on those pedals. Marlowe dropping back there, and looks like Russ doing the same here. Cooper doing so. They're just easing off the pedals to give a wheel to Sturk here. So Sturk doing a good ride as we make our way. Remember, this is a twisting and turning course. We are going to be up at 49k in total, currently sitting at 26. So, Tim Marlowe, time to push on the pedals, mate, because you can just see Sturk coming for you. Currently at 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So, Marlowe's going to give him a hand. That's at least 2 riders, is what we want to see. So, the teamwork here looking very good here. So, you can just see Marlowe dropping back in the orange there. So if we watch Marlowe will be on bigger Watsons than Sturk, just keeping that together. So Sturk, just jump on that wheel, mate. This is where it goes. So this is where we need Sturk to sit on the wheel, Marlowe to keep the pressure on. You can just see Russ has just dropped off the pace as well here, just to make sure everybody gets back. And Andy Sturk here riding nice and strong, that is for sure. So here we go, the rider's starting to come back in, and nice and smoothly done there. Marlon Sturk coming back in, which means Mr. Allen is going to be our runner at the back. He's 116 down. I don't think he's going to be seeing that group come back together. So the front of the group now needs to just hold its horses as the group comes back together. One of our other golden rules. There's loads of unwritten rules of the Donny Chaingang. One day we're going to have to write a book about it. But the unwritten rule is that you let the group reform, and the GoGoGo will not happen whilst we have a strung out group, particularly where people have been waiting to bring everybody together. So Sean Ferron just pushing on at the back of that group, I think. Just so Ferron and Osman are going to be the riders sweeping up from the back here. Sean, one of our bigger riders. Rumours that he takes spinach for breakfast, dinner and lunch are not exaggerated. You can see by his forearms he's got the power to pull the handlebars right off that bike if he tries. And the pack here starting to reform nicely. You can just see that group even on the zoomed in. It's looking like pretty much one group here, so that's what we want to see. And you can just see from the overhead camera shot it's all starting to pull back together again. So keep in the wheels, guys. Make sure you sit in the pack and get that group nailed back together as one big bunch. So let's try and jump back in with the multi-time and national champion Russ Downing, and let's see how Russ is doing. Russ, how are you?
Good, mate, good.
It's a cracking group, isn't it?
Yeah. I just read the messages. Yeah, it's good. You know, we had some good numbers in the sprint. Apologies for going hard and taking the jumper, but you know, and then we've had some great teamwork there, trying to get people back on, and yeah, it's going tight now. So it's got one guy out the back, the keen being Mr. Allen.
Yes, indeed, he was pushing on. Maybe that was he knew he wasn't going to make it to the finish with the leading group, so he went for some early glory on the way through, which it's not unusual, is it?
No, it's kind of a mum and dad's attack, isn't it, in a criterion. You're like, did you see me? Did you see me? But you know, he got himself on YouTube, didn't he? So he's all good, mate.
It is, and to be fair, everybody keeps improving. That's the whole point of the chain gang. Give everybody, no matter how fast, no matter where you get your glory, it's a moment to enjoy and get out and ride and really enjoy the chance to stretch your legs out and get away from the real world, get away from the news, and actually get out and ride with people, whether that's in the real world or on the virtual world of Zwift, and the Chaingang working well at the moment. This great group here on the Monday night here on Thincats, the team all getting it together, and I think Mr. Cooper just drifting off the back there, so it looks like Tim going back to go help a rider or two at the back. So I think the main pack together, it could be that Mr. Allen is going to get some company.
Yeah, he said about all the reasons to get on Zwift. I think the main one is to escape this bloody weather, isn't it? You know, it's horrendous.
It's been pretty grim, hasn't it? What's it all about? I came up from the studio prepping this morning. I thought, I'll go sit in the sun with a coffee. Oh, that wasn't happening. What was that all about? There was like hailstones coming down hard enough to kill things.
Red hot 1 minute, snow coming out of the sky, next bit golf balls, isn't it? But you know, it's all good fun, and like I said, his group's going well here. Where do you reckon we should do the GoGoGo, Matt? You know, some people will, others won't, but we can have a bit of a conversation, can't we, about it?
Well, we do normally do this off air, but we will see. We could give a few options out there. So I don't think this group are slouches by any stretch of the imagination. There's some really quick riders in here, and I've been really impressed by how fast they're going. I think they would stand quite a long go. Whether I would do that before the pavé sprint or after the pavé sprint, because that's because the next feature coming up, I'm not so sure. But I think I would be picking the pace up just to see who's feeling weak, and maybe go and be really mean on the Aqueduct KOM. I'm not sure, leaving it to the petite. This group, they're too strong for that. They don't need looking after all the way to the last climb.
I'm not sure, but then Ben's just chirped up, and you know, Ben's the boss tonight, so he said go on the climb at the end. So you know.
I think this group are stronger than that. You might need to give them a little bit more of a workout. Everybody's looking pretty comfy with the heart rate. I mean, even yours is at 130.
Ben's just come on the same page. If people are reading the chat, I was thinking exactly that. You know, I've done some on the gang before, just cresting the Aqueduct, and people are like, you can't do that. It's like, I can.
It's really mean doing it on the Aqueduct, because if people have been in trouble, they're not in the right place, and we're just going to see now who's feeling strong here. Just riding in with Ben Kimball. I noticed that Ben doesn't have his heart rate monitor working. He claims it's not actually functioning at the moment. I think he's had one of those issues when it all goes wrong, conveniently when you don't want anybody to know how hard you're having to pedal.
Yeah, you know, mine's up to 110 now, so I'm struggling.
Definitely, it's 110. Careful, mate. You need to have a rest at the back again. Oh yeah, you have gone back to the back again. I need to breathe in a minute if I get above that. Definitely. Right, we're gonna let you get back to it and get a feel for how people are going. Remember that GoGoGo can go at any time.
Cheers, mate.
So great to catch up with Russ, and remember, of course, that GoGoGo can come at any time. The ride leaders will call that, and in the men's chain gang, that is Russ Downing, aka the Bear, in the women's only Wednesdays, and we run the women's only Wednesdays as blocks, women's specials only for female riders. Same format, same ride leaders with the yellow beacon in there, sweepers at the back, making sure everybody comes up to pace. Lots of great riders, and we've got a massive mix of riders, from first time riders, literally first time on a Chaingang or first time on Zwift, right the way through to winners of the stages of the virtual Tour de France, people like Gabriel Tacey. And the leader on that is Emma, who is regularly racing on Zwift, as well as the Donny Chaingang Women's Wednesdays leader. And of course, all of that going out on the YouTube channel, where you'll see this, and you can catch up with all of the action on there. Remember, of course, we're bringing the Chaingang out twice a week, every week, and absolute pleasure to be invited by Thincats and SmartModular to come and bring the Chaingang in here. So a massive thank you guys for having us. It's been an absolute pleasure so far. I'm really looking forward to seeing who's got the legs when it starts to get a little bit more spicy, when the front starts to get stretched out and Russ issues those 3 words that I'm not allowed to say at any point except when we really mean it. So Ben looking good, and in the group quite comfortably here. Good to see another rider who's been improving week on week. The man in that Ineos jersey is going to be Dick Samuel. Dick, of course, one of the riders who initially was off the back and now regularly in with the front group. So just keeping an eye here. Preston looking pretty smooth here, 140 beats per minute at the moment. So Preston in that black Glasgow kit here. So doing a good job of keeping tucked in the group is Preston at the moment, and Alistair Preston clearly making sure getting plenty of drafting here. Russ at the moment actually is the one yo-yoing around the back. It could well be that having Ben Kimball on front is going to put him out of the back. Russ is asking people to keep it together. Is that because Russ's legs are suffering? We will soon find out. It does look like there is, in fact, a rider behind Russ. We're going to just take a little bit of a run back. And looks like Baskefield is just feeling the pace here at 4 watts per kilo. I suspect dropped from that group. Meanwhile, looks like Tim Cooper is down. He's dropped back. Thank you very much, Tim. Proper Donny Chaingang stuff. So good, getting some messages coming in from regular Chaingang riders who are watching on YouTube. Apologise and wishing they were able to make it. Craig Herring telling us his turbo trainer is broken down and unable to make it today. Desperate to come on and have a go because it looks like it's really good. So thanks for the message, Craig. And these riders are going to soon find themselves in the midst of the mayhem that is the signal from our ride leader at the moment. Downing is sitting on the back, and Baskefield is putting in a serious ride. He's sitting at 4 watts per kilo. He's got the gap at the moment to 5 seconds to Russ Downing, who's sat on the back of the group. I think if they spat a couple of riders off the back of the group, if anybody's feeling strong enough, is Matt Manicky feeling strong enough to go off the back to pace somebody onto the group. Matt, of course, on his first ride back after some injuries, a crash sustained with Giles Pidcock. Giles less seriously injured. Rumours that's because he just bounces better is possibly true, but I wouldn't dare comment on that. So it looks like Daryl Tashall-Waller just going back to give Baskefield a hand. And Baskefield's putting in some serious watts here. Must have been a moment's inattention because clearly got the pace and got the power to sit with that group. And you can see here he's going to come onto the wheel of Tashall-Waller. He's going to go right the way past him. And in fact, Daryl timing that to perfection. Very nicely done. And just getting that pickup just so that he can sit in with him. Now, there's a string of riders in front, and this is the way to ride into the group. You can see here Baskefield just getting a tow. Now if these were team cars, you'd be jumping from team car to team car. You wouldn't be putting your hand underneath the wheel arch and using it to pull you along on its gov. So you make your way up, and now that pack have gone back. Looks like Booth going back there. Rich Orrell, another of our regulars. In fact, Rich is going to be a beacon, a sweeper beacon, the red beacon on Thursday's Chaingang. This week we've got the Donny Chaingang heading out to some of our regular haunts, the Innsbruck King of the Mountains and Watopia Flat on Tuesday and Thursday. So as they come through here on the Thincats Virtual in association with SmartModular, Donny Chaingang, you can see to the riders who drop back to help now having to chase back on again. So Booth and Orrell now having to push the pace to get into the back of this pack as they come in towards that pavé sprint once again. And the pace has picked up this time, so last time round the fastest time through here was a 31:01. Now the pack just about holding together. We're riding in with Russ Downing. Looks like there's 1 or 2 people going to be going for a sprint here as they come in and through. This is going to be interesting to see what those numbers are, but that pack is holding well together as they come in towards the windmill. Let's keep an eye on those times. Into the gantry they go. So 31.01 was the time to beat. 24.96, and it was a man who was off the back helping, has come right the way through to take that. 24.96 from Daryl, and Daryl will be quickly back in with the bunch. And look at that, it's absolutely snowing. Personal best times down there. These riders putting in some storming times. We're trying to get some ride-ons in. It's very difficult to do with the pace the guys are going. Some really good times here, and good to see Baskerville right up in with the pack. So Marlowe on the front. Tim Marlowe at the moment going to get the signal to just ease that pace back. The regroup due to come before we come in and through onto the aqueduct, and we're going to take a little bit of a check back. You can just see on the map top right hand side of your screen we have a number of riders just distanced a little bit off the back of the group here. So it looks like Wilcox off the back here. Booth is not all that far away, so Booth can hopefully give a wheel to Wilcox on the way past. Wilcox in those lightweights, that lightweight setup, just going to be paying the price when the pace goes higher, because it's got to be able to keep that pace up. It looks like Preston on the back of the pack here. Rich Orrell doing an amazing job here. Rich, one of the most experienced riders that I know of on Zwift. He's been putting in mile after mile, year after year, and looks like he's just about giving a wheel here to Wilcox. They're trying to work their way back on. A little bit further back, you've got Cooper and Allen together at the moment, and you'll always find there's somebody to drop back to you. We're going to take a little bit of a look back off the pack here, so just behind Russ at the moment. Booth is just about making contact. Orrell is off the back a little bit here, and looks to me like Wilcox is the rider in trouble at the moment now as the pace has hotted up. He's lost the wheel, and he's now got to really push on to get in with the group. They're coming on to these turns that lead us in towards the Aqueduct KOM. You can see the bridge over the gorge there, and you can see the gantry just up in front. So the group is going to need to blob up, as it's known, which is regroup and form a blob on the map. So if you're looking from above, it's a blob, not a long strung out line. So if, like all of the cycling disciplines, has its own terminology, you'd expect nothing less from an e-sports, and certainly one of the things to come out of the lockdowns and out of the COVID situation is that esports within cycling are here to stay, with world championships, national championships in action. So Wilcox is plenty strong enough. He's getting ripped here by Kimball to get a move on. Well, he's just put that in, and it's Liam Callaway. He's just given a bit of a pasting to Liam, and dropped back to give him a hand, and timed that maybe a little on the wrong side. I think Liam's going to be strong enough to come in, and it's Baskerville who's just starting to feel the pressure here. The pace is so hard when you're on your limit, and the pace steps up once again to then push it that little bit longer. Now Alan coming through last time was 57.92. Is he going to lose his glory? He's first through the line last time, or the fastest through the line last time, with the 57.92, and we are going to see that disappear here with Liam Callaway putting a 40.92. So he went from the back to the front, and at the moment it's only Baskerville who is off the back of this pack, currently sitting at what is going to be at about 4 to 5 seconds behind. The time checks are going to come back in pretty quickly. So Callaway obliterating the time of Allen, and I suspect we are going to need to see a bit of a regroup from Russ at the moment. So the group in front strung out. The group behind is also losing a rider or two at the moment. So I think a regroup going to be needed to bring this back together again. So just starting to see the front of the group coming back together. This is when it gets more difficult to contain yourself if you're on the front, because the riders are getting twitchy. They know that it's not going to be long before the GoGoGo is called, but it's not going to be happening whilst it's fractured into pieces. The aim is to give everybody a crack of the whip as much as is possible, and there's going to be no advantage given to the group in front. That pack is going to need to come back together again, and that pace is just causing Rich Orrell a few problems on the back of the pack here. So Rich Orrell 7 seconds in front of Baskerville. He went back to go help out, but I think he's looking to get back into the pack. It looks like Tom Lindley has dropped back to give him a hand here. That's great stuff by the youngster. But that group is starting to get back together again. But of course, if you've chased, if that signal is given too soon after you chase back, and that's going to be a very, very tricky indeed. So the group pretty much together. Looks like Tim just going off the back at the moment. And that group just about hanging together at the moment. We're just keeping our eyes on the riders. They come through, just taking a little bit of a look back. Marlowe just pushing on from the back of the pack. And Tim Cooper at the back just sweeping with Mike Allen. Baskerville now 19 seconds. He hung on and hung on at the moment. So Russ at the moment just distanced a little bit by this group as they head off up the road, and I suspect we're going to see a little bit of a push from Russ. That group I think showed everybody it's going to lose now. Allen and Cooper at 3 minutes 32, Baskerville at 8-9 seconds, and here comes the push. Just seeing the red numbers come from Russ as he comes into the pack. We're going to make our way in and around the side here. The church on the side here going to be passed, and then we're going to head back out again and into towards that final climb. So here the riders are coming away from the church. The drags start to kick in very shortly, so you can see the turn just actually in the distance here. The tents are an indicator of where the turn is just down the road. The GoGoGo has gone. It is going to be GoGoGo as Rowan Dubash. Dr. D has suddenly felt his time to go. Well, he's timed up really, really well. Thank you very much for coming in with us. So here we go. The great ride so far. Let's see who's going to be in here. McNeil quickly onto the front and pushing the pace up. Tim Marlowe doing the same here. There is some serious pace being put in already. We're at 50k mph, nearly 30 miles an hour as we're going to come swinging into this climb. Kimball there sat on the back of the pack. Looks like a big kick coming behind. Catley trying to get across that gap. Asquith sitting in here. The team are working really well here, but at the moment it's Craig Genther who's gone off the front here, so it's gone for an early attack here. He's trying to do a taco and go very early indeed. Is he going to be able to do it, or is he going to be crushed flat? It's going to be interesting to see if he can hold them off. This climb is going to start very shortly, just dipping down through here. Here we go, red beacon marker coming on the right hand side there. This group just about together. Let's see if anybody's been distanced. Look at this. Doxy at the moment, just off the back, maybe paying a little bit of the price. Looks like Preston at the moment, sitting currently at 5 seconds on that main group. Sturks in here. Looks like Baskerville overtaken Dubash, but the main group at the moment, they're sat together here now. Where's Asquith? Can he hold the wheels? This is all about holding the wheel. Don't let that gap go, whatever you do on the climb. Just like in real life, it's all about gritting your teeth and hanging on to the wheels. And looks like Genther is paid for that. So at the moment, looks like Craig Genther just starting to pay for the attack there. So Catley just after a toe up from Rich Orrell, but Rich Orrell at the moment is absolutely motoring past Catley, and Orrell with a 3.4 watts per kilo really is pushing on. Preston 3.2 watts per kilo, fantastic stuff. So Orrell is just cooked by the look of it. Up at the front though, it's going to be tough stuff. Who is going to be able to lead this out now? Looks like Doxy, after closing that gap down, has gone on to the front. He's just starting to stretch the lead here. 6.4 watts per kilo. Jono behind 5.3. Looks like Marlowe putting in a good ride here as the balloons go up in the distance. You can see that beacon group behind our leader here on the Thincats Virtual SmartModular, Donny Chaingang. And it is Doxy who's opening up the gap. This rider from Ilkeston just stretching the legs of the riders behind. He's on to the 6% slope, but remember, we've got to get right up to the top of this hill before it's a long run down, and we can see lone leaders getting caught on that downhill. The power of the pack, the power of the group will pull it back together. Now Marlowe on the front here, working well. And just getting the word from Rusta, if everyone rides together, they'll bring him back. Well, that leading group contains some very quick riders, and Asker really is putting in a good account of himself in amongst some very, very good company. Just seeing Tom Lindley being distanced here. He's one of our really good climbers, but this hill is a bit of a nemesis for Tom. He's regularly gets distanced on this hill. It's something about the profile, and Tom Lindley, the youngster, weighs about as much as a gnat on a diet, is currently being distanced here, and that is taking its toll now. Ben Kimball, 3.8 watts per kilo. Got Mason for company, 3.6 watts per kilo. Ferren, Asquith, not all that far off the wheels. Genther and Orrell working together here. They've got Catley with them and Preston, and this is going to pull riders back in together. And looks to me like Baskerville put in a fantastic ride here, just ahead of Sturck. So he really has come back here. Sturck working well. And at the moment, Matt Manicky at the moment is distanced here. Looks like Matt's legs have gone pop for the first time riding on Zwift since his accident. But up at the front, the gaps are opening here. And Doxy at the moment is pushing on at 6 watts per kilo. Now he's got 13 seconds. Let's see who is going to be able to pull this gap back. At the moment, Booth just about leading them on. They can't let Doxy go too far here. 11 seconds is manageable. It's able to pull that down. It looks like Booth and Downing are riding strongly behind McNeil. He's on a great ride, as is Marlowe. These two riders here looking like they really have got this, the measure of this. Thornley sitting on the heels here. Then it's going to be Darrell, Jono, Callaway, Raccoon. It's going to be Darby, Fulton, Lindley and Osman at the moment. All at the moment giving best to Doxy, who is pushing on here. He's gone early, he's gone on the climb, he's trying to get the attack. He was off the back, he pushed right through from the back. At Doxy's gap, you can see behind him, it is opening up as he makes this turn in front of the town hall here. And past the monument, he has got the group coming up behind him, but they're on those lower slopes. We keep our eyes open for when he comes around that turn. He's only got a right and a left hand turn before he comes up in towards the finish. And the gradient here, it's nothing to be sniffed at. 4%. Looks like Booth and Downing working hard together. Marlowe really is pushing on. Once again, he's trying to stretch out the riders he's with here. So Doxy's going to be the first of the riders up. Remember, last time up it was 8:58. The time, I think that is going to be somewhat smashed by Doxy, who is putting a fast time. He came from the back of the grid, so he's got aerodynamic advantage on his way through. We're in with Doxy. What time is he going to do? Is he going to take that top spot from Preston? We're waiting for it to update. 4 minutes 53. 4 minutes 53 seconds for Doxy. Don't worry, he's got the jersey for going over the top. The fastest time being set there by Doxy. He's got that polka dot jersey. Now behind the riders have to try and close down all of these gaps. Booth comes in and through. Booth at the moment comes through. He's currently going to be trying to chase down Russ Downing. The bad Fonzie Downing. He's in front here and he's chasing down Doxy. So it's Doxy in the lead, putting in a phenomenal performance here. He's got Downing just ticking his way down here. Booth is behind. He's currently in position 3 as they go down this slope, but big bulk of riders coming up over the top. Callaway has just come in through that line as well. Now, what's Marlowe doing? Marlowe's on this descent. Marlowe working well here, and Marlowe is going to be stretching out the gap at the moment on McNeil. There's about 1 second between them. The distance is on the road, and you can see the draft being kicked in here by McNeil as he tries to close down on to Marlowe. They've got Jono and Darrell Tutchell Waller just in front. The groups are descending here. Look at the speed, 65 kilometers per hour as we descend with McNeil at the moment. Marlowe now at 1 second in front. He's going to get onto the back of the riders, but here comes this duo. They've got a bit of a gap and some work to close down. The time gap is coming down, though. You can see that they are bringing down the gap to the riders in front. So McNeil and Marlowe coming onto the wheels. They're going to be on the wheels of Tassio Waller, onto the wheels of Jono. 12 seconds in front, Booth. Then Downing, 8 seconds further up the road. And Doxy at the moment leading at 11 seconds. I think he's keeping something in his legs. He knows that he doesn't want to bring Russ Downing in to the finish, and you can just see Russ rolling down behind, but those gaps are not huge behind, and they are coming down. The riders who are working together are starting to feel the benefit of that draft, of being able to tuck in behind the wheels. So Darren Tatchell Waller in here with Marlowe and Jono, and McNeil not having made that same junction. Is now 1 versus 3, and the gap going back out again. Then it's Thornley, Orrell and Callaway going over the top of this group. Looks like Baskyfield on his way up this slope, not too far from the top here for Baskyfield, behind Allen and Cooper, working well at the riders in front there on this descent, and they are absolutely screaming the way down here. Now Downing can see Doxy here on the Thincats Virtual, Donny Chaingang, and the guys are working hard at the moment. So Downing now chasing hard onto the wheel of Doxy. The bridge that you can see in front, that is the bridge immediately before the finish line. This is going to be close. Is Doxy going to take this? He's going to know. He's going to have his screen. He's going to have it set to this view, because if you were Doxy, you might not want to look behind, but the motivation to keep on pushing is coming behind, because look at that. That is Downing behind him. And Downing can see Doxy in front. It's 9 seconds. I think it's going to be less than that when we hit the line. 8 seconds, 7 seconds. It's going to be close. Oh, look at this. The push is coming behind. Booth isn't all that far behind either, but I don't think he's going to pull back a leader at the moment. That's 23 seconds in total. So Doxy now onto the cobbles as they come through here on the Thincats Virtual. Donny Chaingang here, and look at the pressure that's being applied to those pedals by Doxy. He's holding at that 5 watts, because that is 5 watts for every kilo of body weight. 325 watts. Downing behind, he's putting in the kick. He's trying to close that gap down. We've just seen some red numbers coming out of Downing, but the corner is coming up in front. You can see on the map it's not all that far to go, and he's closing in on Doxy. Doxy's at 6 seconds. Russ is up pace, keeps on kicking into the red zone here. Can Downing close down Doxy? Doxy's leading this sprint out, but you'll see Downing right behind him. Here he comes. There's the yellow beacon. The gantry is going to come in front. It's only just down the road here. Can Downing do this? He's coming quick. Is he going to hold him off? It's going to be right down to the wire, and Doxy takes it by a fraction of a second there from Downing. Booth is going to come chasing in behind, but Downing nearly had him on the line there. So close coming into the finish. It's going to be a 3rd place for Booth. So first for Doxy, 2nd for Downing. Booth's going to come through. It's going to be a 3rd place for Booth. Behind them, 6 seconds behind. It's going to be a big sprint here, and it's going to be Darryl Tattershaw Waller, I think, is going to get it. So 4th place for Darryl Tattershaw Waller, 5th place for Marlowe. It's going to be a 6th place for Jono. 7th place is going to be McNeil. So it's going to be McNeil coming through 7th place today on the Donny Chaingang. Great ride by McNeil here. So 7th for McNeil, 5th for Marlowe. We just take a look back here. It's going to be 8th place here. So Thornley comes in towards the gantry. 8th place for Thornley. Now, can Callaway hold on to a top 10 position? He's in 9th place. It looks like there's 11 seconds gap. It's a lot tighter for the final place, so it's going to be 9th place for Liam Callaway after working hard to pull those riders back in time and time again. So a 9th for Callaway. Now Darby's gone for it here. He wants that top 10 position, and it's Darby who is pushing hard here. So here we go. Darby's going to take 10th place. It's going to be Raccoon who's going to get 11th. Great ride by Raccoon there. Back then to Fulton. Dave Fulton's going to be in 12th position as he comes in towards the line. Then it's going to be a real sprint here. 3 riders together. Who's your money on here? Lindley already using the draft. He's the lightest of the riders in amongst this group, but he's got a big kick, so he's got the watts per kilo. He was holding in, he used that draft to accelerate past, and Lindley's gone for this 15 watts per kilo on his way to the line. What a ride by Lindley. He comes through with Osman and Samui as well. So it is going to be 11th for Raccoon. It's going to be 12th for Faulty, 30 for Lindley, 14th for Osman, 15th for Samui. Craig Genther coming through 16th, Sean Ferrin is 17th, and then it's going to be Savage coming in through, just taking that from Asquith. So Asquith comes through in that group behind. Then it's going to be Oral and Catley coming through. Ben Kimball putting in a PB. Nice riding, well done there. And great a ride there by Ben Kimball. Give him a ride on, that is for sure. And a massive thanks to Ben. Looks like Catley feeling the pressure. Stirk now on the way in to the line, pushing all the way in here. Great riding by Stirk here. So Stirk is going to come in underneath the gantry to finish here. A 19-9 last time in that pack, and that's going to stay the same this time. Behind, Preston's going to come through in that Glasgow kit here. So Preston comes in through the line, and a PR on his way through. Great way to finish the ride there, that's for sure. Let's have a little look back now. So Baskerville pushing in for the line here, just distance on that last kick over the top. Let's see if we can bring Russ in here. Russ, how are you doing?
Holy moly!
I don't think you've got much left in the legs, have you?
No, trying to get as close as Connor winning Trobro, but you know, Doxy was quite honestly. I was from the bottom of the climb. I was just sprinting, really, just having a couple of seconds off, go again. Oh, it was a great finish, and when he went on the climb, he didn't sneak off. No one could hold him, and that was that. So
yeah, he came from
that. You need 2 or 3 to get someone like that back. 1, 2. You're not getting them back. They can get by. I think we had a guy on the DCG who attacked at that, and we nearly got him on the line, but we still didn't get him. So it was all in there for Doxy, and I couldn't bring him back. So what a ride!
Definitely a good ride. Good ride here by Baskerville. He joined late, had take dropouts, jumped back in again, and put in a great ride there. Was holding those wheels to that last climb and put some great recoveries. And good to see so many people going back, not just regular DCG riders, but new riders to the Chaingang, going back and helping out and bringing him back in. Yeah,
apparently he's a Zwift novice as well. So first time tonight, and
wow,
I've done a bad ride. What, a minute and 30 down or something, and yeah. We weren't hanging around when the GoGo, well, even before the GoGo, it was a really good tempo. Yeah. The GoGo went, and it was.
It was indeed. It was indeed.
Go for it.
Yeah, so nice warm down now for Baskerville. Now let's have a look at the 2 riders who are just on that descent now, getting the nicest bit of the ride, I think, on this this downhill, and just in with Alan at the moment, and. Looks like Tim Cooper going back to give some assistance, but Mike Allen just having a little bit of a gap up there on Tim.
Yeah, just Tim waits for him and then he drops him. I don't blame him. You've got to take these things, the opportunity, haven't you? And you got to run on the descent, go for it. Fill your basket, as you say.
Indeed, fill your basket, indeed, and seeing some great riding here by Alan to come into the finish. Currently at 44k, that's soon going to tick by because this descent comes quick, and if the 2 riders work together, they'll really motor on down. 88 minutes of riding does so, 1 hour 23 total time on the clock at the moment. 50 kph from Alan as he's coming down this slope, and looking pretty smooth here. And it's been a really nicely controlled ride, hasn't it? The whole of the Chaingang tonight.
It was just exactly like we used to have it. People going off the back. We've said recent rides don't go off the back because it's just too hard to come back at that speed. But tonight, it was on the limit of if you went out the back, you had to try to get back on. And
yeah,
you needed to come at the front to just knock it off a little bit, and then it was all tight again. So it was a pleasure to lead, and I hope Ben, Thincats and SmartModular enjoyed that, and all his team, loved it as well. So yeah. It was good fun.
Certainly a real pleasure to see the guys in action and to see the Chaingang working as it's meant to. And we say it's not as easy when it's big in terms of staying in because the pace is high. But it's not because it's any harder, is it? It's all about just the dynamics of having 200 riders, a bit like having the Tour de France peloton versus a local road race. You get more riders, it just goes quicker.
Yeah, it's like the hardest races sort of the smaller ones, because the pace is all over the shop, the Tour de France stage or whatever like that. It's nice and smooth, and you don't have to move. You get dragged along, but that was tasty at times, and yeah, I enjoyed it for a Monday night. I needed it.
Well, Dave, yeah, your idea of enjoyment and mine are very different things, I have to admit. The guys clearly enjoyed that, and we've got to say a massive thank you to Ben and all of the team at Thincats, and of course to Matt Manicky, who, back from injury after a crash, he was going well, was Matt from Struggle Events.
Yeah, he's got some good coaching team behind him, hasn't he? So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, oddly enough, coaching does work, as has been proved time and time again. And looks like these two now heading into the descent team. Cooper on that descent, just pulling the speed to keep the maximum momentum in. So, Russ, thank you very much for leading tonight, as always. The Bear was on fine form tonight, and we will no doubt see you again tomorrow for the Donny Chaingang.
Yeah, hopefully I recover in time, and don't miss the start.
Well, yeah, let's see if you're later in one piece tomorrow. Cheers, Russ.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
So great to catch up with Russ, and as you can see across on the screen, the riders now heading down back into the Marina Sprint here on the Donny Chaingang, courtesy of Thincats and SmartModular. We've got to say a massive thank you to them. A great event tonight, some great riders, and it's been really, really good to see the Chaingang doing exactly what it should do, supporting those riders around it. Don't forget, of course, as we always say on the Chaingang, support the people who support your sport, whether you need a new modular garden shed or whether you are looking for investment in a small or medium enterprise, then make sure you get in touch with the guys at Thincats and with SmartModular, because of course they are supporting the sport. So we're going to dive in with our two riders coming into the line here on the Donny Chaingang, and this is with Tim Cooper along with Mike Allen, and Alan is going to be on the run in to the finish here. So Alan's last time through was a 21.97. Let's see if he's able to keep that pace rolling as Tim keeps that pace high into the line. This will be a nice roll down and a warm down to that blue banner. Alan going in. Can he hold that 21.97? Can he beat it this time around? 19.71 was that I just saw. 19.71, so a faster time on the way through the finish at that time. So as our riders roll down and around, I'm going to say a massive thank you to them, and a massive thank you for you to watching. A big thank you to Thincats. Make sure you dive on to the website, and that is www.thincats.com, and there's so much information, loads of case studies in there, really interesting reading as well. Sometimes we work with companies and the research is boring. Now, to be honest, I overran doing everything because I was reading this case, so it's very, very interesting indeed. Don't forget, of course, SmartModular as well. You can go onto their website, smartmodular.co.uk.com, and get to them. And of course, make sure you come down, have a ride on the Donny Chaingang sometime. Always great to see new faces. From me and Matt Payne, from all of the team at the Donny Chaingang, from Thincats and SmartModular. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.